Hi everyone, welcome to today's video about how to plan your lobby visit with FCNL's lobby visit roadmap. We at FCNL have trained thousands of people on how to have a successful constituent lobby visit, and we've learned that there's a basic structure in every lobby visit that makes it much more likely that you'll be successful. So today we're going to go through the lobby visit roadmap, and we are going to talk about what you can do to help make your visit as successful as possible. Some basic tips and tricks for a successful lobby visit, as well as all of the planning and work that you need to do beforehand. The FCNL Lobby Visit Roadmap can be found at fcnl.org/lobby roadmap. The link is in the description of this YouTube video, so be sure to check it out, and I'm so excited to go through this today. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and I am going to share my screen, and we're just going to look at the roadmap. It's 2 pages. As you can see, there's the first part, plan for your lobby visit, and the second part, the roadmap. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in on the plan for your lobby visit. This part talks about who is going on the visit and kind of helps you get the logistics set up. So, you know, write down, make sure everyone knows where your meeting is, where it is, what time it is, and also what time you're meeting beforehand. Make sure you go to your visit at least 10 minutes early, or even earlier if you're going to go ahead and all plan together right before the visit. And so the next thing you're going to do is assign roles. And so there are 3 roles that we suggest that you have at in a lobby visit. The group leader, who does much of the logistical stuff as well as the introductions at the beginning and the end and introducing the main ask. The note taker, who's responsible for doing the lobby report back form. And the delegation members, who are people who share personal stories and who go ahead and ask and answer questions and are just there letting staff know that there's a broad group of people. Everyone does not have to talk if you are in a lobby visit. Everyone doesn't need to share their story, but everyone should be introduced and should make it known a little bit, at least, why they're there. So yeah, and if you only have 1 or 2 people, that's okay too. You can fill 1 or more of these roles, but we suggest this to our groups in terms of who will be talking. So yeah, so once you've gone ahead and decided who will do what in your group, and you may actually want to decide this after kind of going through the roadmap together and deciding who's interested in telling stories and sharing your stories with each other beforehand to see which feel the most powerful to be part of the lobby visit. You're going to go ahead and go through the timeline. And so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen with you. So on here you can see there are on this 8 steps. And so the first step, whoops, sorry, some tech difficulties. The first step is introducing yourself. And you want to make sure that this isn't just saying your names. Introducing yourself is talking about not just who you are, but also who you are within the context of your community. So who you are, where you work, where you worship, other community organizations you may be part of. What you're trying to do in this instance is not just you know, introduce yourself to the member of Congress, but you're trying to give the member of Congress context for who you are, what part of their constituency you are representing, and what kind of views and perspective you are bringing to the meeting, and you are bringing to their office, and what perspectives are part of their community. So making sure they know and using it as an opportunity to help them get to know their constituency better. You know, especially if you're part of a small church that the member of Congress isn't familiar with, or you work at an organization that they aren't familiar with, they love to know about those things because that's part of the community that they represent. So be sure to talk about that with your member before, or the staffer before it begins. And it also helps kind of demonstrate where your power comes from. We tell everybody that when they walk into a lobby visit, they need to remember that a member of Congress isn't just seeing them, they're seeing everybody who came with, who you will go back to and communicate with about this lobby visit. So they aren't just seeing you, they're seeing you and other people who share your faith, who you're going to go talk to about this visit. And that's important. Important to recognize, and so important to emphasize. So next step is the thank you. And this is an important thing that you should research beforehand. So you want to thank your member of Congress for congressional action that you've looked up or researched or read about in the news. This is so important for starting the visit off on a good note. You really need to make sure the member knows, especially if the meeting could be confrontational, that it's not a confrontation, it's a conversation, and that you are looking to go in there and have a dialogue. And having a thank you is is the easiest way to do this. If you don't know what to thank the member for, just thank them for their years of service, of public service as a member of Congress. If you feel like you really can't thank them for anything, you can at the very least thank them for that, and they'll appreciate it. So the next thing is introducing the ask, and this can be brief. Hi, so we're here today to ask you to support the Clean Power Plan, or we're here today to ask you to vote no on the bill to that would, the American Health Care Act, because it would do a great deal of harm to our community. Or we're here to ask you to support higher domestic spending and to vote against increased military spending. Go ahead, keep it simple, and use it to lay the ground for what you're going to talk about next. Sometimes they'll respond right away. Sometimes the staffer, the member will just say, okay, and let you go ahead and move on to your stories. And your stories are the most important part of your visit. So your stories are how you connect why this issue is important to you, and especially why this important issue is important to your community and your member of Congress's community. We recommend that about 1 to 3 people share stories about how this issue impacts them directly, and we ask them to try and connect it to the member of Congress if you can, and to their shared values that you all have, but also connect it to your life and the life of the people in your community, because that's what's gonna really change the mind of members of Congress. There's tons of research that shows that the most effective way to move a member of Congress from undecided to a yes vote or a no vote on something is constituent stories. And the most powerful thing that makes a member of Congress an advocate on an issue that they were previously neutral about, is constituent stories and understanding really why this is such an important issue for them to be able to advocate for as a member of Congress. And so you want to go ahead and, yes, tell those stories, share them, and then you want to try and repeat the ask as a story. So say, you know, I am, like, this has been personally impacting my community, and therefore I would like you to support this bill, or I would like you to make a statement in support of this issue or this piece of legislation. Once that you give that ask, then you are in good shape and ready for a conversation. What follows will be a dialogue around the issue and your ask. And that's an excellent time for listening. You really want to know what the member is saying and how they're responding to this. Look for what values they're bringing up and what kind of other points that they're making, either to agree or contradict you, because that's important to understanding where they're coming from and what they're saying. So make sure that you listen to their questions, and also, if you can, write them down. Make sure that you kind of keep this stuff handy, because we at FCNL want to know this. So after you've done this, repeat the ask one more time before the end of the visit, because you want to go ahead and have the opportunity to give them a leave behind, which is a piece of paper just reiterating what you're advocating on and giving some basic information about it, as well as your contact information. At FCNL, we have leave behinds for all of our issues at fcnl.org/legislative-ask, which the link will also be in the information box of this YouTube video. But we really suggest you also leave your contact information, and then go ahead and say thank you and promise that you're going to follow up. If during the conversation you are asked something that you don't know the answer to, don't pretend you don't know the answer. See that as an opportunity for a continued conversation. Say, I don't know the answer to that, but I'd love to get back to you about it. And I will. And then go ahead and do get back to them. If you have questions that you can't answer, reach out to FCNL staff, or offer FCNL staff as a resource to these members of Congress. Our staff love to be connected to members and their staff, and will happily answer any questions that they have. And then the last thing that we need you to do is send a report back. Your work is so, so vital to us here in Washington being able to do our work. And the information that you give us from your visit, both what was said and who was there, is so, so integral to us being able to be the most effective advocates we can here on Capitol Hill. It helps us get a broader support and get in more offices. Your presence around the country really is so helpful to us. So that's just a basic outline. And if you have any other questions, FCNL staff are happy to help, but this should get you through the very basics of a lobby visit. So good luck.